just wanna lay you down and give you something. Just don't fall in love.
So you majored in animation and stuff. That's still pretty artistic. Do you use any of that stuff now, or are you strictly music?
I use a lot of it, actually. I think that's what, at first when I decided to stop doing animation, I was worried that I would kind of lose, I guess, that sense of myself, that part of myself. But what I found was that I began to use sort of the techniques and the qualities that I learned through doing animation in my music work. So now, I pretty much handle all my own artistic stuff as far as my music is concerned. Like, I'll do my own album covers. I've actually done some freelance stuff for other people's album artwork as well. So it's a nice trade-off, I think. And I can do like certain things with music videos and stuff like that visually.
Yeah. Speaking of your music videos, I really like what you've done with them.
Thank you.
Especially, I was watching the Dust music video, and what I really liked about it was the focus was on you and your voice and your music, but it still had like some cool visual aspects to it.
Yeah, sorry, my cat is like freaking out right now.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah. Actually, I can't even take all the credit for that, because most of my videos are actually handled by my longtime friend Frank Hernandez of Adam Fly Media, and me and him tend to work together a lot on like concepts and stuff like that, and sort of what we want the visual aspect to be, and then he is really the mastermind behind kind of bringing all that together. But the funny thing about Dust, though, is that it was actually a much bigger project than what I had originally, I guess, set out to do with it. With Dust, I was approached by a mutual friend of mine and Frank's. She's a nurse, and she had this idea about a short film series, a dance short film series that she wanted to do that was inspired by cancer survivors and cancer patients. And she kind of gave me the story and like just the rundown of what she wanted to do, and I was so inspired by it. Like, she asked me if I could do a song for it, just something really short, and I was like, yeah, like, it seems like such a good project, something nice to kind of, reach out to people that are suffering from cancer. Like, my mom herself actually had cancer, so it was something that was touching to me. And then, so I mean, long story short, she was actually the one that kind of orchestrated everything with Dust. She got all these big people together, like these really big dancers from around the world, and kind of brought everyone together for what I think turned out to be a really epic looking project in the end.
Yeah. So Dust was an EP, right? That was the full EP.
Yeah, Dust was, it was originally just that one song, the Dust featuring Daewoo song, and I kind of wanted to put a little bit more behind it. Like, whenever I release projects, I like to make an event out of it, so I added the Dust Settles. I did sort of like a low-key remix to it, and threw everything together with like the visual aspect and everything, and tried to sort of mold everything together into one EP.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was really well done, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I can tell, like, even back when I was looking through some of your older videos, the quality has always been there. Like, you've always been putting out quality content.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's nice to know that the reception is positive.
Yeah,
the hard work and everything.
Yeah, you've definitely developed a pretty solid fan base over the 4 years you've been doing it.
Yeah, for sure. It's surprising too, because it's not a big fan base, but they're loyal though. Like,
that's what matters.
Yeah, that's exactly what matters. Like, I don't know if you checked out some of my older covers and stuff, but me and Frank were doing a cover series called Hiding Place, which was it was originally supposed to be something kind of like a grittier type of Glee format, where I'll be singing like covers and stuff, and there's a story behind it and everything. And then shortly after, I think it was the third one, we had some mishaps, and we had to everyone got kind of busy and everything. We kind of had to stop the series. And even that was about 3 years ago now, and even to this day, I still have fans asking me, "Hey, when's Hiding Place coming back? Are you going to work on that part 4 and part 5? Like, what are you going to do for covers?" And I'm just like, oh, I didn't think people were still, paying attention or listening to that stuff. It's crazy to think that even after so many years, you can still have such a loyal fan base. supporting you. You know?
So what's the answer? Is it coming back 4 or 5?
Yes, it is coming back. I don't want to say exactly when yet, but they are both coming back very soon. We just kind of have to get like we're getting all the logistics together, and we're in a new place now, so we kind of have better resources. Like me and Frank are both in better positions in our careers now to give better quality. So we want to put the best quality we can into it, and kind of make an event out of the last two. But it's coming very soon. Hopefully this year.
Hopefully this year. Okay. I look forward to watching that and watching all the other ones as well. I briefly looked at them, and yeah, they were well done, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that thing about the comments though, because I noticed that there were definitely comments on there saying like, when's the other ones coming out? yeah. People are surprisingly still waiting. So, anyone watching, thank you for being so patient. So, when you first moved to LA, like what was your life like as compared to now? Like, were you like having to like work like a couple jobs and just like hustle to like make ends meet? Whereas now things are a little bit different. Can you take me through that progression? Yeah, sure.
It's funny. I'm very thankful because I think I got really lucky when I moved out to LA. I had kind of already established some good network connections and stuff like that before I moved down here, and that was a big thing for me because I wanted to make I'm a very controlling person as far as like things that go on with my life, and I don't like to have a lot of surprises when it comes to new things. So like I said, I had been flying back and forth between San Francisco and LA for a good few years or so before graduating and moving down here. And then once I released Blank Space, I actually got in touch with an A&R named Curtis Richardson, who he kind of like took me under his wing and kind of started mentoring me and like teaching me the ropes of like music business and just sort of how the internal structure of music actually works behind the scenes and all that. And he started introducing me to different people, like producers and songwriters and stuff. And most notably, he introduced me to my current co-writer, Angelique Sinelli, who I just got done a session with. And then she works out of producer Brian Kennedy's studio in LA. And if you don't know him, he produced a lot of stuff for Rihanna, Chris Brown, Brandy, Jennifer Hudson, that type of stuff. He did Forever, Disturbia, all those big songs. So as soon as I moved down here, I met up with Brian Kennedy and Angelique, and I started working out of the Kennedy Compound Studio. And that's kind of how I got, I guess, sort of more established. But that doesn't usually happen when people move to LA. It's usually like what you said. Like when I first was starting to move down here, I was expecting to have to do the whole hustle thing, and like get like 3 different jobs and try to do sessions on the side and like try to huff it for rent and everything. Which in a way is still kind of happening. It's just that I don't have to do the 3 jobs thing, but I still have to do I still have to work my ass off and do sessions and stuff like that. So. But
your sessions is more for like your own projects and maybe other people's projects. They're all music related.
Yeah, they're all music related. Most of the stuff that I've been doing recently is a lot of engineering, a lot of co-writing. I do a lot of production, but most of my production stuff is for myself or for me and Angelique as far as our writing duo is concerned, and then we'll pitch those records out to other artists or people that are looking for music and whatnot. Okay.
So you said Angelique works out of Brian Kennedy's studio?
Yeah.
So what does that mean exactly for the people that are listening?
So basically it's just like a home studio. So as a songwriter, generally a lot of songwriters kind of hop around from studio to studio. So there's tons and tons of studios all around Hollywood, and as a songwriter you may be signed to a specific publishing company, but you'll still hop around to different studios to work with different people or work with different producers and stuff like that. But you tend to have like a home studio where you're based out of. So she's based out of the Kennedy Compound. Okay. And that's kind of I guess that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. Only I'm not actually signed to Brian Kennedy, but it's more of like it's kind of like a base studio.
Okay.
Home base. Okay.
So as far as like being signed and like deals and things like that, is that something you're looking forward to in the future? Is that something you want?
Yeah, for sure. I think deals these days are they're kind of different than they were like back in the day. Like with the advent of the internet, people don't really need record labels as much anymore. You can independently release a record and it can blow up and get millions of views, all from your own promotion. But the positive to having a record deal obviously is the money aspect and the promotion and whatnot. But I think for a songwriter, what's more important is getting a publishing deal, because basically what that does is it allows a songwriter to kind of just focus on the songwriting and not have to worry about where the extra money is coming from. Like a publisher will generally kind of supply you funds for miscellaneous things and like food and just a living expense and everything, for kind of like a wage, but it's recoupable. And then you kind of you can just go about doing your own thing and kind of working and not have to worry about having 2 extra jobs or having a nighttime job or whatever extra to pay rent.
So how does one get a songwriting deal?
There's so many ways, dude. Like, I don't think there's even really one specific way. Like, I know people that have applied to specific companies and gotten interest. Personally, I don't think applying, like actually sending in an application, is really that lucrative, because I think most of the time when a company is going to sign an artist, it's because it's somebody who's been on their radar for a while, or somebody that I guess knows somebody else at the company, somebody higher up. I think if I was going to give advice to a budding songwriter trying to get a publishing deal, I would say just do it yourself until you can't do it anymore, and try to make the right network, make the right connections. And by that I mean, build relationships. If there's anything that I personally wish somebody had told me when I first started doing music, it's build strong relationships with people, because I think that's really what gets you in the door, as opposed to sort of doing the whole cold emailing thing and kind of like, sending out tweets to people like, listen to my stuff, blah, blah, blah. If you build relationships with people, they'll start to recognize you, and you'll be on their radar, basically. And that'll be an easier way to get your stuff out to them.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it seems like, networking is a really big thing in basically any industry, but especially in the music industry.
Mm-hmm. You might not be that good at it. That's a reality, but you can get better at it by practice and hard work. And, if you have something, put it out now. Don't wait until